Hello. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about willpower and decision fatigue. And why this topic is defined? Because I wanted to know more about psychological concepts in a deeper way. Many people have an intuitive sense of their willpower. It actually fluctuates, and so our self-control may get stronger or weaker at different points in the day. And this is actually common, but did you know that making decisions also takes willpower? Actually, just having like self-control and making like hard choices, that also depends on the same supply of energy, and either can affect the other. One side that making decisions depletes willpower is that people have poor self-control over making choices or just after making them. For example, choosing what consumer products they might want caused people to give up faster on a test that required holding one's hand in ice water, a classic lab test of self-control. Something similar happened to students who make choices about what courses to take in the future or choices about their current course did worse thereafter on various lab tests of self-control, such as persevering in solving anagrams, to make an actual choice, and that is basically decision making in the acting. This information may have practical consequences. People who have to make decisions during the day may deplete their willpower, leaving them likely to do things they will regret in the evening, such as eating or drinking too much. When energy is low, decision making changes various ways, mostly designed to avoid effort. People may prefer to postpone decisions in an effort deciding not to decide, in quotes. Split that in quote marks. Their choices are more subject to bias because they don't think carefully enough to rule out irrelevant factors that could distort the decision. Depleted decision makers also show less tendency to compromise, instead adopting simpler, rigid criteria. And what do you think about that? When you have many decisions to make, it is useful to conserve your willpower so as to be able to make the later ones effectively. And I know sometimes it's difficult to make this last part, to preserve your energy and to make like the right choices every time that we face some kind of decision making process. But the reality is that our fatigue, our day-to-day routines, and so on constantly challenge us in order to follow the right decisions, right instinct, and be objectively right all the time. Have you faced something similar? But what about habits? The previous section focused on self-control, which consists on using some kind of effort to control your actions. Habits, on the other hand, are in some ways the opposite. Habits occur with little control, apparently, by the deliberate system. So it can be something that can be constructed piece by piece, or something that you can develop just easily just doing it unconsciously every day. To say someone act out of habit is to say that the person did not necessarily consider the action or alternative, did not try to perform or received that action in particular. How common are habits? Some studies have sought to find out by having people wear and not wearing things, acting towards things and stopping acting towards other things every day. By assembling these reports, researchers can develop a broad picture of what people do and how often. One conclusion from these studies is that almost half the actions people do are things they do pretty much every day in the same place. This suggests that Most people have plenty of habits and use them often. So you can develop a habit unconsciously, as we were mentioning before. Habits may seem like trouble, isn't it? Such as when people apologize that they did something inappropriate because of force of habit. Someone may set out to drive to a shop and instead follow the habit or the usual route to work and just to continue the role, right? Yet habits are not generally opposed to your goals, according to an influential theory. In the driving example, the mistake of driving to work instead of the shop may occur because usually your goal is to drive to work. It's when you go out to shop something at the grocery store and then you end up just shopping something that you've been shopping for months and months and months instead of shopping what you actually need at the moment. If anything, current goals are often simply missing from the habit of the behavior that we already developed and irrelevant to it. So one performs the same actions in the same situation over and over. The action becomes associated with that situation or with other relevant causes. Meaning that situation sets of automatic processes to enact the behavior just like on other occasions. This our system, one's current goals and other factors may be completely out of the process. When we set this automated like mindset, I don't know if you have your system 1 and system 2. Those are more likely to be like decision making and in a rapid kind of environment and situation and in a short-term environment and situation. But so far, it is like something that is connected with the development of habits. Whether you use system 1 or 2 to make a decision, that doesn't mean that your habits are going to instantly disappear or become conscious. It can be one day, but then you're going to be back to habits unless like something major happened into your environment and within yourself that you just stop doing it, consciously or unconsciously. But goals are not completely relevant to habits. For one thing, they promote the learning of habits. People get the habit of driving a particular way because it takes them to their usual goal. Actions that repeatedly help you reach your goals are more likely than others to become habits and indeed strong habits. For example, brushing your teeth, getting your clothes, wearing them every day, going to school, and so on. Even more important, habits can help keep up your pursuit of goals when your willpower is low, something that is really important. Success in college, for example, depends on lots of studying. Most students want to succeed, but at various times their motivation may feel weaker than others, and their self-control may also be at a low point. Good study habits can help sustain the effort even when one doesn't feel like it. And that's why it is really important. Hopefully, everybody has like this kind of great habits integrated in their lives. And also those habits that they're actually just adaptable and they're actually helping you to reach your goals. I really hope that. I really do. And here goes an example. Those who had a habit of eating a healthy breakfast were more likely to do so during just a period of exams in college. Meanwhile, those who had a habit of eating unhealthy breakfast ate more unhealthy foods. In fact, those who had a habit of reading the newspaper became all the way more likely to read it during exams week. Even though during exams, they should in theory be studying for exams, not reading the paper. So goals can also conflict with habits. What exactly is bad about bad habits? Eating sweets at the movies can be a bad habit. because it conflicts with goals to be healthy, fit, and slim. True. The sweets probably serves another goal of enjoying oneself and tasting something good, right? But this merely shows that people sometimes have conflicting goals. One helpful approach is to remove oneself from the situations that trigger the habit. For example, when people want to stop smoking, they may find that it is easier to do on holiday or after moving to a new home because they are not constantly confronted with the cues and situations that usually trigger the impulse to smoke. Clearly, when we set like this piece by piece, clearly self-control is often needed to break habits. When self-control resources are depleted, people tend to fall back into bad habits. In a field experiment, participants first identify bad habits they were seeking to break, such as drinking alcohol or weeknights, or good habits they wanted to acquire, such as being punctual to class. On some days, they were randomly assigned tasks to deplete their self-control, such as using their left hand for things they normally did with the opposite hand. Those days were marked by low success of regulating habits. They were more likely to drink alcohol despite it being a weeknight, or more likely to be late to class. Without habits, life would be exhausting because every action will require deliberate control, and that's true. As made clear, our deliberate system takes effort and energy, and our brain needs constant energy all the time. Make sure to eat all your calories, okay? Whereas the automatic system 1, works much more easily and efficiently. That's why we have 2, because we don't have energy to be system 2 all the time. We don't have time to actually rethink everything that we do and what we do it and what to do at the moment. The human mind naturally acquires habits to conserve its energy. Sometimes it's exertion to break, but that is the price of getting the actual benefits of being able to do plenty of daily activities without a struggle. And that's true. Life would be considerably more difficult without habits. And what do you think about this episode so far? And I'll say episode to these videos. And hopefully, of course, we're going to continue this series because I really liked it, about psychological concepts in a deeper way. And I love filming these videos without putting any images, and if I ever do, are going to be low because I love filming this, recording this, and publishing this type of videos for you to be able to listen to it in the car, cooking, working, doing whatever you want, even at the gym, and not having the constant need to look at the screen because you're going to miss something. No, you're not going to miss anything. You're going to miss only my voice if you put your hands on your ears, okay, literally, in order to not stop hearing everything. Sorry, to stop hearing everything. And since I already stumbling in my words, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully, I continue seeing you in the future. And I hope you've been liking this kind of content. Let me know. I know I asked some random questions during the video, but useful questions for us to reflect. These videos are educational purposes and entertainment purposes as well. If I say something wrong, let me know in the comments, and I will also leave the comment section as a forum because I like us to change what we know and what we want to know as well, through questions, through debates, through friendly discussions, and give me some recommendations. I read this or took my information and then making into this video with my opinions and commentary from social psychology by our dear Roy Bamister. Sorry if I don't read it right or pronounce it right, but we love that guy in the channel. See you another time. Bye bye.